The roar of the crowd crashed like thunder against the chain-link fence. But Everett Hayes couldn't hear it over the venom in Coach Harlan's voice. "You're done, boy. Pack your shit and get out. Faggots don't play on my field." At 18, under the glaring stadium lights of Elmwood High in rural Ohio, Everett's world shattered in a single heartbeat. His cleats rooted to the turf as teammates averted their eyes. The betrayal slicing deeper than any tackle ever could. That night, as rain mixed with his tears on the drive home, he vowed silently to the empty passenger seat he would rise. Not just for himself, but to rewrite the story they tried to erase him from. Everett slammed the car door behind him, the gravel crunching under his boots like brittle bones. His parents' modest ranch house loomed in the darkness, a beacon of normalcy that suddenly felt like a cage. Inside, the kitchen light flickered on. His mom, Linda, wiping flour from her hands on her apron, her face crumpling the moment she saw him. "Ev. Honey, what happened?" His dad, Tom, a burly mechanic with grease-stained fingers, stood frozen by the sink, the evening news droning about some distant war. Everett's throat tightened, words tumbling out in a rush. The locker room whispers. The anonymous note slipped into his bag. The coach's explosive confrontation after practice. They found out about me, and they said I'm off the team. For good. Linda crossed the room in 2 strides, pulling him into a hug that smelled of fresh bread and unconditional love. Her sobs muffled against his shoulder. Tom just stared, his jaw working silently, the weight of small-town expectations pressing down like the humid Ohio air. "This ain't right," he finally muttered, voice thick. "Football's supposed to build boys into men, not break them." But even as he said it, Everett saw the flicker of doubt in his father's eyes, the fear of what this meant for their quiet life in Elmwood, where Sunday sermons still preached fire and brimstone, and the local diner buzzed with gossip faster than a hive of angry bees. That night, Everett lay awake in his boyhood room, posters of star quarterbacks peeling from the walls, replaying the moment over and over, the way Jake, his secret boyfriend and the team's star running back, had looked away, lips pressed thin, as if silence could shield them both. The days blurred into a haze of isolation. School became a minefield, whispers in the halls like shrapnel. Lockers slammed a little too hard. Eyes that once held camaraderie, now laced with pity or disgust. Everett skipped the games, watching from afar as Elmwood crushed rivals without him. Jake's touchdowns celebrated like heroes' triumphs. One crisp autumn evening, unable to bear it, he drove to the edge of town, to the old quarry where he and Jake had stolen their first kisses under a canopy of stars. The water below shimmered black and unforgiving. "Why didn't you fight for us?" Everett whispered to the wind, fists clenched against the chill. But Jake never came. Instead, a text arrived days later. "I'm sorry. It's too much. We can't." The words burned like acid, carving out the last piece of his heart. Winter descended on Elmwood like a shroud, blanketing the fields in snow and Everett's spirit in numbness. He threw himself into books, devouring stories of outcasts who triumphed, Harvey Milk's defiance in San Francisco, the Stonewall rebels who refused to hide. His mom found him one night at the kitchen table, surrounded by library volumes, and slid a mug of hot cocoa his way. "You're stronger than they know," Ev, don't let them define you. Her words planted a seed, fragile but fierce. By spring, Everett had applied to community college in Columbus, scraping together scholarships with essays that poured out his truth unfiltered. Football taught me teamwork, he'd written, but love taught me resilience. Acceptance came with a full ride for engineering ironic. He thought, building things when his own foundation had been dynamited. Columbus was a revelation, a bustling heartbeat far from Elmwood's stagnant pulse. The city lights dazzled, and for the first time, Everett walked hand in hand with someone without glancing over his shoulder. His name was Riley, a lanky art major with freckles like constellations and a laugh that chased shadows away. They met at a campus pride event, Everett lingering awkwardly by the rainbow flags, Riley sketching caricatures of protesters with exaggerated mustaches. "You look like you've got a story," Riley said, handing him a doodle of a quarterback hurling a heart-shaped ball. "Want to tell it over coffee?" What started as tentative sips evolved into late-night confessions under the Scioto River bridges, Riley's fingers tracing the scars on Everett's soul. "They tried to bench you," Riley murmured one night, their bodies tangled in his tiny dorm bed. "But you're the MVP of your own life." Yet, even in this newfound freedom, ghosts lingered. Everett's dreams were haunted by turf and cheers, the what-ifs twisting like vines. He channeled it into his studies, excelling in civil engineering, designing model bridges that withstood simulated earthquakes. Riley noticed the fire in his eyes during those late study sessions. "You're not just building structures, Ev. You're rebuilding yourself." Their love deepened, a quiet romance of shared playlists and weekend hikes in the Hocking Hills, where Riley painted landscapes alive with color, and Everett sketched blueprints of futures untethered. But cracks appeared. Riley's internship in New York loomed, a siren call of galleries and ambition. "Come with me," Riley pleaded one rainy afternoon, rain streaking the window like tears. Everett hesitated, the pull of unfinished business in Elmwood anchoring him. "I need to go back first. Face it on my terms." Graduation came swift, cap and gown armor against the world. Everett landed a job at a firm in Cleveland, specializing in stadium renovations. Fate's cruel joke or poetic justice. He and Riley made it work. Long-distance calls laced with "I miss yous" and surprise visits that reignited sparks. But Elmwood called like a siren's song. News trickled in. The old stadium, Elmwood Field, was crumbling. Leaky roofs, sinking foundations, a metaphor for the town's decaying pride. Coach Harlan, now retired, led a lackluster fundraiser, but donations dried up amid scandals of his own making, whispers of favoritism and cover-ups. Everett watched from afar, a plan germinating like a storm cloud. 2 years into his career, the call came from his mom. "The field's closing. Ev, they might tear it down." Her voice cracked, carrying the weight of nostalgia. That night, over video with Riley, Everett stared at his laptop screen, the blueprint software open to a half-formed design. "What if I fixed it? Not for them, for us. For every kid who feels invisible." Riley's eyes lit up, that artist's intuition sensing the epic in the making. "Then do it. Turn their rejection into your revolution." Emboldened, Everett pitched the idea to his firm, Pro Bono for Community Impact, a flagship project to showcase sustainable design. Skepticism met enthusiasm. But his passion won out. This isn't just bricks and mortar, he told his boss. It's redemption. Returning to Elmwood felt like stepping into a time capsule cracked at the edges. The town square still bustled with farmers' markets, but boarded-up shops whispered of economic woes. His parents greeted him at the door, older but unbowed. Tom's handshake firmer than memory. "Proud of you, son," he said, eyes misty. Word spread fast. Everett Hayes, the boy. They ran off, back to save the stadium. Murmurs turned to stares as he walked Main Street. But this time, his chin was high. At the first town hall, Coach Harlan glowered from the front row, his face a map of bitterness. "We don't need handouts from outsiders," he spat, the room tensing. Everett stood, voice steady as steel. "I'm no outsider, Coach. I bled on that field same as anyone. And I'm here to build it better for everyone." The project ignited like dry tinder. Everett assembled a team, young architects hungry for purpose, local volunteers wary but willing. Riley flew in weekends, his sketches infusing the plans with artistic flair, murals of diverse athletes, inclusive banners fluttering in the wind. But resistance simmered. Vandalism struck first, spray-painted slurs on the construction fence, tires slashed on the cruise trucks. One night, under a harvest moon, Everett found himself cornered in the half-erected stands by a group of Harlan's old cronies, beer breath hot on his face. "Think you can waltz back and play hero? We know what you are." Fists flew, Everett dodging blows with the footwork of forgotten drills, until a siren wailed his dad, alerted by a neighbor, barreling in with a tire iron. Bruised but unbroken, Everett pressed on, the attacks only fueling his resolve. As summer scorched the earth, romance bloomed amid the chaos. Riley, sensing the strain, proposed during a quiet dinner at the quarry, now a site of tentative healing. "Marry me, Ev. Let's build our legacy together." Tears stung as Everett said yes. The ring simple silver etched with a football laced like a heart. Their wedding, small and fierce, unfolded in Columbus under autumn leaves. Jake appearing uninvited at the reception, face gaunt with regret. "I was a coward," he admitted, voice breaking. "You deserved better." Everett forgave, not for absolution, but release. A chapter closed with grace. Fall brought breakthroughs. Donations poured in from unexpected quarters, LGBTQ+ organizations. Alumni shamed into action. Even a viral crowdfunding campaign Riley spearheaded. His artwork of the stadium's rebirth shared across social media. "From ruins to rainbow." The tagline read, capturing hearts nationwide. Media swarmed Elmwood CNN segments on resilience, local papers grudgingly praising the prodigal son. Harlan, cornered by his own hypocrisy, a leaked recording of him admitting to the kickoff, resigned in disgrace, his empire of machismo crumbling like the old bleachers. Winter tested the build, blizzards halting progress, but Everett's vision held. He incorporated green tech, solar panels glinting like hope, accessible ramps for all abilities, a memorial plaque for overlooked pioneers. One frosty dawn, as cranes hoisted the final beam, he stood with Riley, hands intertwined, watching the structure rise against the pale sky. "We did it," Riley whispered. Everett nodded. Throat tight. Now all did. Spring unveiled the grand reopening. Elmwood Field reborn as Hayes Legacy Stadium. Named not for conquest, but community. Thousands filled the stands. A sea of faces, old teammates with sheepish smiles. Kids waving pride flags. Coach Harlan absent, but his shadow fading. The first game kicked off with Everett's ceremonial toss. The ball soaring true into welcoming hands. As cheers erupted, he pulled Riley close. Their kiss a quiet thunder amid the storm. In that moment, pain transmuted to purpose. Exile to embrace. Everett had returned not as victim, but architect of a world where love scored the winning touchdown. Legacy etched not in turf, but in the hearts it healed. Yet the echoes of that first cheer lingered long after the final whistle, pulling Everett deeper into the town's slow thaw. Months post-reopening, he found himself mentoring the new team, not as a ghost of glory days, but a guide through vulnerabilities. Strength isn't hiding who you are, he'd tell the huddle of awkward freshmen, their eyes wide with the same fears he'd once drowned in. One boy, Timmy, barely 16 with a stutter and a secret crush on his best friend, approached after practice, jersey damp with sweat. Mr. Hayes. Everett. How'd you know it was worth it? The fighting. Everett paused, the stadium lights casting long shadows like old regrets. Because love isn't a penalty, it's the play that changes the game. Riley thrived beside him, his art studio now a fixture in Elmwood's revitalized downtown. Walls alive with portraits of locals unmasked, a lesbian farmer mending fences, a trans veteran coaching Pee Wee League. Their home, a cozy fixer-upper on the outskirts, became a haven. Mornings of coffee and canvases. Evenings tangled in sheets scented with fresh-cut grass. But beneath the bliss, Everett wrestled with a quieter storm, the fear that triumph was fragile. That one wrong pass could unravel it all. Nightmares crept in, replaying the quarry's edge. Harlan's sneer morphing into modern faces online. Trolls decrying the woke stadium as Elmwood's fall from grace. A letter arrived one overcast Tuesday, postmarked from California. Jake. Pages thick with apologies. Confessions of a life half-lived. Marriage to a high school sweetheart that fizzled into therapy sessions. Kids who asked why daddy seemed sad. You were my North Star. Ev. I dimmed it out of fear. Seeing you now. God. I'm sorry. Everett read it aloud to Riley by the fireplace. Flames dancing like unresolved embers. Do you want to see him? Riley asked. No jealousy. Just empathy's gentle probe. Everett folded the letter, tucking it away. Maybe. But not yet. Some bridges rebuild slower than stadiums. Summer swelled with festivals. The stadium hosting pride parades that snaked through town. Rainbows clashing gloriously with red, white, and blue bunting. Everett keynote the opening. Voice carrying over the crowd. We kicked each other down once. Now, let's lift. Applause thundered. But backstage, his mom pulled him aside, her eyes sharp. Your dad's sick. Ev. Prostate. He didn't want a burden. The words hollowed him out. Tom. The stoic rock. Now frail in hospital gowns. Machines beeping like accusatory metronomes. At his bedside, father and son bridged chasms with halting truths. "I failed you back then," Tom rasped, hand gripping Everett's. "Thought protecting the family meant fitting in." Tears carved paths down weathered cheeks. "You protected me by loving me anyway, Dad. That's the win." Healing rippled outward. Timmy came out at the next game, jersey emblazoned with a tiny rainbow patch. The crowd's roar a bomb. Harlan's old guard grumbled in dive bars, but younger voices drowned in petitions for inclusive curricula. Ally trainings at the rec center. Riley captured it in a mural on the stadium's outer wall, Everett as a colossus of light. Arms outstretched. Diverse figures climbing toward him. The quarry's waters below transformed to a reflecting pool of stars. Autumn brought a curveball, a developer from Cleveland eyeing Elmwood for a strip mall sprawl. The stadium in their crosshairs as underutilized. Town council meetings turned combative. Harlan's shadow puppeteering from the sidelines. His cronies rallying with cries of progress over perversion. Everett faced them head-on. Blueprints unrolled like battle maps. "This isn't just a field, it's our heart. Tear it down. You tear us apart." Riley rallied artists for a counter-campaign. Murals popping up overnight. "Save our legacy" in vibrant defiance. The vote loomed like a fourth-quarter clock. Tension electric. That night, Everett and Riley drove to the quarry, now a park with benches etched by school kids' dreams. Under a blanket of stars, they made love slow and fierce, reclaiming the space. "Whatever happens," Riley breathed, "we've already won." Dawn broke with the council's decision, nay to demolition. By a single vote, Timmy's dad. Swayed by his son's story. Jubilation erupted. Hugs and high fives blurring lines once drawn in dust. Winter whispered of deeper commitments. With Tom's treatment stabilizing, Everett proposed expanding the Legacia Foundation for LGBTQ plus youth sports nationwide. Scholarships seeded from stadium revenues. Jake visited then. Tentative coffees turning to walks where old wounds aired like laundry in the wind. "You're happy," Jake observed. A wistful smile. "I am now." Forgiveness flowed easy. A river carving canyons of grace. Spring bloomed with the foundation's launch. Inaugural event at the stadium, kids from across Ohio. Flags waving. Stories shared under spotlights. Everett watched Timmy score his first touchdown. The boy's grin brighter than the sun. Riley's hand in his. Warm and sure. In that arena of echoes, Everett understood legacy wasn't bricks or banners, but the courage to love boldly. To rebuild not despite the breaks, but because of them. The crowd's cheer rose eternal. A symphony of second chances. As the foundation took root, Everett's days blurred into a rhythm of blueprints and breakthroughs. Each email from a grateful teen a brick in an invisible wall of change. But fame's double edge sharpened national spotlights brought adoration and arrows alike. A conservative pundit on Fox lambasted the gay takeover of Heartland values. Clips going viral. Death threats pinging Everett's inbox like shrapnel. Riley fortified their home with locks and laughs. But sleep evaded Everett. The quarry's call louder in vulnerability's hush. One stormy June evening, a knock shattered the quiet FBI. Badges gleaming wet. "We've got a lead on those threats, Mr. Hayes." Harlan's involved stirring the pot from his trailer. The revelation landed like a blindside hit. Harlan, bitter exile himself, funneling rage through online proxies. Arrest came swift. The old coach handcuffed on his sagging porch. Mugshot splashed across headlines. Fallen hero's final fumble. Courtroom drama unfolded. Everett testifying not with vengeance, but verity. He shaped me by breaking me. Now, let justice shape him. Harlan's eyes met his across the bench. A flicker of something regret. Defiance. The sentence, 5 years. Community service at the very stadium he'd scorned. Riley's art captured the trial's catharsis in a series of etchings, fractured helmets mending into halos, fields blooming from ashes. Galleries clamored, his career soaring. But whispers of New York tugged anew. Tour with me, he asked over anniversary champagne, the stadium's distant lights twinkling like promises. Everett's heart wardrooded yet restless. 1 year. Then we decide. Their summer odyssey crisscrossed coasts, Riley's exhibits in lofts alive with clinking glasses. Everett consulting on coastal arenas. Hands dirty with destiny. In San Francisco's Castro, they danced at a Pride block party. Bodies slick with sweat and joy. Strangers cheers a chorus of belonging. Back in Elmwood, Tom's remission brought barbecues under stadium awnings. Linda's potato salad a staple of survival. You've given us more than a field, Ev, she said, squeezing his arm. You've given us pride. Timmy, now a junior captain, confided dreams of architecture, like you, but with rainbows in the rebar. Mentorship bloomed. Everett guest lecturing at the high school. Classrooms hushed as he unpacked his playbook. Out yourself before they out you. Play your truth. Fall's foliage framed a crisis. Budget shortfalls from Harlan's sabotage. Suppliers ghosting under pressure. Everett rallied donors. A gala at the stadium under chandeliers strung like stars. Riley emceed. Wit-weaving wonder, tonight. We fund not just fixes, but futures. Bids soared. Celebrities toasting Ellen retweeting the invite. A queer NFL player pledging jerseys. Amid the swirl, Jake reappeared. Sober now. Volunteering as a coach. Let me help atone, he said. Eyes earnest. Everett nodded. Boundaries firm as foundation footings. Winter's grip loosened into a personal gale. Riley's off-era permanent gallery directorship in L.A. It's our chance to expand the legacy westward. Tears froze on Everett's lashes during their airport goodbye. The distance a chasm wider than oceans. Weeks stretched to months. Calls crackling with unspoken aches. Elmwood anchored him Dad's checkups. Timmy's playoffs. The Foundation's first national summit. But Riley's texts glowed with sunsets over Santa Monica. Collaborations with Hollywood visionaries. I feel alive here, Ev. But I miss us. The breaking point came in March. A video call amid cherry blossoms. I can't choose, Riley confessed. Voice splintered. The art. It's pulling me. Everett's world tilted. Echoes of Jake's abandonment thundering. Then go. Build your empire. I'll hold the fort. The line went dead. Silence deafening as an empty stadium. He threw himself into work. Stadium expansions, community gardens in the outfields. Safe spaces in the underbelly. Sleepless nights birthed innovations. VR simulations for virtual tryouts. Inclusive algorithms scouting talent beyond binaries. Spring thawed resolve. Tom's advice over diner pie. Love's not a solo play. Son. Sometimes. You punt and pray. Everett flew west unannounced. Finding Riley in a sun-drenched studio. Brushes abandoned. I was wrong, he said, dropping to one knee with a custom ring titanium etched with stadium coordinates. Our legacies wherever we are. Marry me in L.A. Riley's yes dissolved into kisses salty with relief. Plans unfurling like banners, dual bases. Foundation chapters coast to coast. Summer-sealed Ida destination wedding on Malibu bluffs. Waves crashing applause. Guests mingled, Elmwood kin rubbing elbows with Glitterati. Timmy as ring bearer. Jake toasting with genuine grace. Vows exchanged under a chuppah woven with pride flags and football laces. In your light. I found my field. Honeymoon in Hawaii blurred into bliss. Snorkeling reefs alive with color. Mirroring their reborn bond. Fall returned them transformed. The stadium hosting a unity game, East versus West All-Stars. Proceeds fueling youth programs. Everett narrated from the booth. Voice rich with reflection. From one kick to 1,000 touchdowns. Harlan. Paroled early for good behavior. Watch from the nosebleeds. A nod exchanged truce. Tentative as spring thaw. Winter wove deeper threads. With Riley's LA ties. The foundation exploded, scholarships for trans athletes. Anti-bullying curricula in 40 states. Tom's full recovery sparked a family road trip. Route 60 SIXS endless ribbon healing old ruts. You turn pain to pavement. Ev. He chuckled. Wind whipping white hair. As snow dusted the stadium. Everett stood with Riley on the 50-yard line. Blueprints for a national network in hand. We started with one field. He murmured. Now. The world's our turf. Their kiss lingered. A promise etched in frost, love. The ultimate rebuild. Legacy a living. Breathing roar. The national network's launch felt like birthing a colossus. Everett jetting between coasts. Riley's murals mapping the expansion like tattoos on America's skin. Board meetings in boardrooms with rainbow accents. Press junkets where Everett's story headlined panels, from bench to beacon. Accolades piled Human Rights Campaign Award. A TED Talk viewed millions. His words a lifeline. They tried to sideline me. I built a league of my own. But glory's underbelly gnawed. Exhaustion etched lines around his eyes. Riley's absences stretching like taffy. One red eye from L.A. Everett collapsed in Elmwood's green room. Fever raging. Pneumonia. The doc said. Stress-fueled. Bedridden. He scrolled threats anew emboldened by Harlan's release. Fringes plotting disruptions. Riley rushed back, nursing him with broth and ballads. Their bed a bunker. We're unbreakable, he whispered, but doubt flickered like candlelight. Recovery coincided with crisis, a foundation grantee. A young queer soccer star in Texas. Outed and ostracized. Mirroring Everett's youth. He mentored remotely. Voice hoarse, but heroic. Used their hate as fuel. Score anyway. The kids' comeback state championship goal went viral. Everett effect, trending. Yet it unearthed Jake's ghost. A letter arrived. Proposing collaboration, Let me coach for the foundation. Redeem what I broke. Everett mulled, consulting Riley over wine. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's forwarding. Jake joined, his drills infused with humility, mentoring Timmy's little brother through coming-out jitters. Spring surged with the network's first summit in D.C. Capitol steps a stage for stories, survivors of conversion camps. Allies turned advocates. Everett keynote. Riley's video installation looping behind fields morphing from barren to bountiful. Protests ringed the perimeter. Counterchants drowning slurs. Post-event. A White House invite. Coffee with the advisor on LGBTQ+ affairs. Your work's reshaping policy, she said. Everett. Humbled. Pushed for federal funding. Seeds planted. Watered by persistence. Summer scorched ambitions. Harlan sought him out at a foundation fundraiser. Suit ill-fitting on a shrunken frame. I was wrong. Hayes. Cancer's got me now terminal. The admission hung heavy. No pity sought. Just peace. Watch the kids play sometime. Everett offered. Harlan did. From the stands. Tears tracking as a trans goalie saved the day. Weeks later, his obituary noted quiet donations to the foundation legacy's late bloom. Riley's LA chapter thrived. A youth art sports hybrid program birthing murals on backboards. Everett visited. Their loft overlooking the Hollywood sign a perch for dreams. East Coast roots. West Coast wings. Riley joked. But beneath. A whisper, family. Talks turned to adoption. Profiles of kids needing homes foster failures. Rainbow-ready hearts. Imagine our team. Everett mused. Hand on Riley's swelling hope. Fall framed the choice. A baby girl. Mia. 4 years old. Brown curls and boundless energy. Matched their profile. Home study passed. Papers signed in a whirlwind of wonder. Mia's first stadium visit. Eyes saucer-wide at the turf. Tiny cleats kicking tentatively. Daddy Ev. Run. She squealed. And he did. Scooping her into laps of laughter. Riley capturing the chaos in candid shots. Winter welcomed her fully. Holidays a haze of firsts, tree trimming tinsel fights. Sledding down Elmwood Hills. Tom's Gramps moniker stuck. Linda spoiling with storybooks of heroes who hugged instead of hiding. Jake. Uncle figure now. Taught her to throw spirals soft as secrets. The foundation's holiday gala raised records. Mia's drawing a stick figure family on a field auction for thousands. As snow blanketed the stadium, Everett tucked Mia in. Riley's lullaby lingering. We built this, he said later, arms around his husband. All of it. Legacy pulsed in her breaths. In the network's hum fields from Florida to Alaska. Lives laced with love. Spring tiptoed in with Mia's kindergarten fears. But the stadium's daycare eased her. Peers a palette of possibilities. Everett balanced boardrooms and bedtime stories. Riley's book deal a graphic novel of their saga-sealing chapters. From Kicked to Kicked Up. The title sang. Yet shadows lingered, national elections loomed. Rights under siege. Protests peaked at a foundation rally. Everett shielding a teen from jeers. We fight with fields. Not fists. He rallied. But bruises bloomed. Riley bandaged him that night. Resolve hardening. Our daughter's watching. We endure. Summer's heat forged alliances, partnerships with pro leagues, queer inclusive clauses in contracts. Mia's swim lessons at the stadium pool splash joy. Her giggles echoing heels. Fall harvested fruits, policy wins. Federal grants flowing. Harlan's widow donated his memorabilia trophies transfigured to trophies of tolerance. Winter wrapped them warm. Mia's first snow angel a masterpiece. As flakes fell, Everett traced Riley's face. They kicked me out. We kicked ass in. Laughter mingled with tears. Legacy a hearth fire. Burning bright. The policy wins cascaded like dominoes. Everett's testimony before Congress a masterclass in measured fire, charts of stadium impacts. Anecdotes of transformed teens. Buildings stand. But stories sustain. Bills passed narrowly. Funding funneled to rural outposts mirrors of Elmwood. Now beacons. Back home. Mia's chatter filled voids. Her questions probing. Why do some people yell at rainbows? Daddy. Riley fielded with paints. Hughes explaining hate's grace. Summer's swell brought expansion pains, a foundation branch in Atlanta. Everett helming the build. Heat waves tested crews. But local youth drag queens welding. Non-binary engineers drafting infused soul. Riley joined for the ribbon cut. Mia waving scissors too big for her hands. My daddies make magic. She beamed to cameras. Hearts melting nationwide. Fall's elections tilted tides. Progressive sweeps safeguarding rights. Celebrations at the stadium, fireworks spelling equal. Mia oohing from Riley's shoulders. Jake. Fully woven in. Proposed to his partner a quiet ceremony officiated by Everett. Circles completing. Winter whispered warnings, a cyber attack on Foundation servers. Harlan sympathizers doxing staff. Everett fortified digitally. But paranoia prickled. One icy night. Tires crunched outside their home breached. A brick through the window shattering glass and illusions. Mia's screams pierced. Riley barricading doors. Police swarmed. Culprits nabbed, disgruntled ex-employees. The violation lingered. Therapy sessions unpacking terror's tendrils. Spring sprouted resilience. Mia's preschool ply a tale of a kicked ball finding home drew tears from teachers. Everett channeled fury into a security wing, safe houses for at-risk youth. Stadiums as sanctuaries. Riley's novel launched to acclaim. Tours blending signings with foundation fundraisers. Summer scorched with scandal, a rival org accused of mismanagement. Dragging the foundation into mud. Headlines screamed, queer cash grab. Everett faced the press. Transparency his shield, audits aired. Dollars traced to dreams. We're building. Not billing. Vindication came swift. Donations doubling in defiance. Fall framed family frontiers. Mia's adoption anniversary sparked a vow renewal Vegas whimsy. Elvis presiding over rings renewed. Tom's health rallied for the trip. Poker nights with Jake's sealing bonds. Winter wove wonders, the network's decade mark. Gala at the original stadium expanded tenfold. Honorees spanned spectra, elders who'd marched. Kids just starting. Everett's speech, from one exile to endless embraces. Mia, microphone in paw. Added, love wins games. As snow swirled. Legacy loomed larger, a documentary in production. Riley directing. Everett starring unwittingly. Our stories everyone's, he said. Mia asleep between them. From kick to kingdom. The field forever theirs. The documentary's filming immersed them. Cameras capturing candid chaos. Mia's T-ball triumphs under stadium lights. Riley's sketches evolving into storyboards. It's therapy in Technicolor, he quipped. But edits unearthed raw reels, old footage of Everett's expulsion. Blurred faces of betrayers. Airing nationally. It shattered screens. Emmys nodding to truth's triumph. Backlash barked. But viewership vouched, millions moved. Closets creaking open. Summer's simmer saw Mia's curiosity crest. Tell me about before me. Daddies. Storytime became saga. Sanitized for small ears, bad guys banished. Good guys building. She absorbed. Drawing duos and jerseys. Hearts haloed. Jake's wedding gift, a custom mini stadium for her backyard. Laughter echoing his atonement. False frosts nipped at a Jessa Foundation audit revealed overreach. Grants stretched thin. Everett streamlined. Hearts heavy but hands steady. Quality over quantity. He decreed. Pivoting to mentorship pods, virtual villages for isolated youth. Winter's wideout brought a blizzard of births. The network birthed a hotline. 24/7 lifeline laced with love. Calls flooded, teens teetering. Elders echoing. Everett man shifts. Voice of vessel, you're not alone on the line. Spring unfurled with Mia's school play. Her role as the brave builder, a meta masterpiece. Parents packed the gym. Applause thundering like opening nights. Tom's pride swelled. That's my grandkid legacy in pigtails. Summer scorched successes, pro league partnerships. Pride patches on uniforms. Everett consulted Super Bowl renos. Riley muraling end zones with unity motifs. Mia's camp at the stadium, archery and art. Arrows arcing toward acceptance. Fall-framed farewells Linda's retirement party. Pies and toasts toasting her tenacity. You held the home front. Everett saluted. Tears toasting back. Winter whispered of winter's past. A retrospective exhibit at the stadium, artifacts from expulsion to exaltation, torn jersey framed. Blueprints bound. Visitors wandered. Whispers weaving wonder. Harlan's widow unveiled a plaque to second acts. As flakes fell, Everett reflected with Riley. Mia's snores a soft underscore. We kicked off a revolution. Legacy. A living legend. Lapped at their lives like loyal waves. The retrospective drew droves. School groups shuffling through shadows turned spotlights. Mia led tours. Pint-sized professor. This is where Daddy got mad strong. Donations deluged. Funding flights for far-flung families to visit Ground Zero. Summer swelter sparked a scandal redux. Leaked emails from early days. Harlan's hand in homophobic hazing. The docuseries sequel surged. Public outrage ousting holdouts from boards. Everett mediated mercy, justice. Not jihad. Fall's palette painted promotions. Mia starting soccer. Cleats clicking like karma. Riley's novel sequel signed. Tours tandem with Everett's keynotes, art and architecture. Allied in authenticity. Winter's winds whipped a wonder. Tom's proposal for a seniors league at the stadium. Gray hairs tackling grids. Never too old to score. He grinned. Mia cheering from sidelines. Spring bloomed bold, the network's global arm. Chapters in Canada. Allies abroad. Everett's passport stamped with purpose. Riley's laptop linked to London looms. Summer sizzled with Mia's milestone first crush confessed. A classmate with braids and bravery. Is it okay? Like you and Daddy. Heart full. Everett affirmed, always. Fall-framed fusions. Jake's team merging with the foundation. Hybrid drills drilling diversity. Winter wrapped with warmth. A family cruise waves washing worries. Stars scripting stories. Back ashore. The stadium hosted a symphony, scores of silenced voices. Now some. Legacy layered. Lives laced Everett's empire and embrace eternal. The global arm's growing pains gripped autumn. Cultural clashes and consultations. How do we honor hijras in India? Everett learned. Listening leading to localized legacies fields flexible as identities. Winter's Hush hosted healing. Therapy intensives for foundation alums. Scars shared in stadium sanctums. Mia's empathy emerged. Hugs for haunted heroes. Spring surge saw Mia's birthday bash. Bounce houses on the 50. Guest galore Timmy now collegian. Jake's family jamboree. Summer's symphony swelled, Olympic ties. Queer athletes training under banners bold. Everett's advisory role. Riley's poster designs golden graphics. False fires forged forward, a biopic buzz. Scripts scrutinizing souls. Stay true. Everett urged writers. Memories mined for authenticity. Winter's White welcomed wisdom. Tom's memoir co-penned with Everett. From sidelines to spotlights. As year turned, Mia queried, "What's next?" "Daddy's." Riley winked, "More magic." Legacy. Luminous. Leaped onward love's longest play. Unending.